Regular session, Nogales Housing Authority Board of Commissioners meeting, 3 p.m. Wednesday, May 8th, 2019, City Council, Complex Chambers. Call this meeting to order. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Madam Clerk, would you please?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Call to the public. Do you have anybody to call to the public?
I have no.
Nobody? Okay. Number 4, housing resolutions. Number 1, consideration possible action of housing resolution 2019-03-01. Do I have a motion, a move? Or
So
what?
moved. Second.
Second. Discussion? Should we have
Yes, Mayor, can we have a presentation, please?
yes, go ahead. Francisco, state your name and everything for the record, please.
Mande. Excuse me.
State your name for the record.
Francisco Padilla, Nogales Housing Director. I received an email from the HUD on March 15 that the audit issue and that the auditors issue an unmodified report, and there were no findings. So the audit was concluded at the time.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, go ahead, Councilman.
Mr. Mayor, Mr. Padilla, so then on page 36, what does it mean there when it says financial statements findings, prior year findings and question costs? I didn't find as many findings as there were in previous years, but what does that mean then? On this book here,
Yes,
on page 36.
yes. What was your question? Which?
Well, what does that mean, that findings? You said that there were no findings, and here it says finding. Inadequate accounting controls, low rent public housing. So,
Yeah, that's, excuse me. Dr. Barona, that is from the previous year,
Right.
2017.
right?
Okay. This audit that I'm referring to is one audit that ended on March 18th.
Yeah, well, it says March 18th there on the top of the, on March 31st, 2018.
Right.
But it says there, prior year findings criteria, conditions at the end of the year. What happened to this? Because on the rest of them, it says this finding has been cleared. Does that refer where it says current year status? Does that refer to that? Current year findings, question, cost?
At the end of the page that says current year findings and question costs, none, that's referring to this audit for March 18th.
Right. But
And the other one at the top is for the previous year, for 17. And all those items or findings that were there, they were corrected.
so for the 2018, this audit period is for the end of 2017. Fiscal year ending June 30th, 2017, is that correct?
No,
When is it?
Which page are you looking at?
Page 30.
the fiscal year ending for the housing authority is March 31st.
I don't know, you guys are, when your fiscal years, is the same as is different than the federal government, huh?
Yes, it is.
Yes, it is.
So what do these findings mean here? How do I know if these findings have been corrected?
Is that the housing authority?
Well, that's what it
Yeah,
says
it
here,
is.
housing authority right here.
We got copies of
Yeah, that,
That's what it says.
it. And
And here it says, this is year ending March 31st, 2018.
mhm.
So what about these findings?
Where did you see the June date on that?
All right here.
Page 30.
Page 30. Mayor, I know that you weren't here the last year. Councilman Rojas and I were here, but there were a lot of findings, and I know that we went through a lot with meetings with HUD and everything down here, and I just want to make sure, I don't want to find out from HUD. If they're cleared, great, you guys done a great job, but I just want to make sure that they're cleared, 'cause I don't want HUD coming back down here and saying, we're not doing the job that we're supposed to be doing. And last year, it cost the city of Nogales close to $700,000, money that was allocated to us that we lost because of this. That we couldn't help the people of Nogales because we lost money that was allocated to us. So I just want to make sure that if we're okay, great. But nobody's here telling me we're okay. So can somebody give me an answer? Because I don't want to go through what I went through last year.
This audit issues were cleared for prior year. We did lose $738,000 of capital. We should have expended prior to these issues. So the audit's pretty well cleared up. Everything we need to get straightened out.
So you got all of that happening.
Mr.
Are
Chairman?
we, Mr. Felix, are we cleared just because we lost the money, or are we clear because they fixed the problem?
We're clear because we fixed the problem, the new director, and all the exceptions that were made clear to us have been corrected by the
That's what I want to be confident before I vote on this, Mayor, because Councilman Rojas and I, we went through a lot in those meetings, correct, Councilman?
That is correct,
And
Councilman.
we don't want to go through that again.
Mr. Chairman,
Go ahead.
where it says condition, at the year end, the auditor has already,
What are you looking at? So we can see?
at the page 36, at the end,
Page 36, okay.
where it says condition, that's submitted by the auditor.
Okay.
Where it says, the auditor was required to make significant adjustments. That means that they cleared that one finding.
Okay,
So the housing authority is good in that aspect. And what I understood from Francisco is that HUD already reviewed the audit and they approved it.
thank you.
Is that right?
yes, that's right.
Well, everything else that I saw, I'm just worried about those, the findings that we had, okay? The other thing is, Mayor, this is the third year that I say this. If you would please tell HUD, I think it's absolutely ridiculous that we have to bring people from the state of Alabama to do the audits here when we have people, lots of competent people in the state of Arizona. Why do we have to pay people from Alabama to come and do our audits here? And it's always been a different from out of state. That's the most ridiculous thing I've seen. Like if we don't have competent people here in the state of Arizona.
Mr. Chairman? Can I
Yes, go
answer?
ahead.
Dr. Varona? The HUD has nothing to do with the auditors. With the housing authority is the one that selects, they go out and bid for the audit. We've had auditors from Oregon, from California, from Arizona, but the housing authority can go out and bid out for the audit. And whoever they choose, it doesn't matter where they're from.
Our housing authority?
Yes. So HUD has nothing to do with the selection of the auditor.
Well, then go tell yourself, since you're responsible and you pick these people. I want to know next time, if you're going to pick somebody from out of state, is it just because of an RFP? Or, and I'd like to see the list of the RFPs, who you're sending it to.
Yes, Councilman.
If that is, if what Councilman indicates is correct.
Francisco, on the, I didn't get the complete On the finding that says current year findings and question cause continue, and this says condition. The other ones say none. Can you explain that to me?
Where are you reading? Mayor?
Page
On the
36?
plus-
36, yes. 36.
It says continue condition. What's a condition? What is it? The other ones say none. You have two with none, one with condition.
Okay, the condition that I read before, Mayor, where it says that they had made a significant adjustment, so it means that they had cleared that finding, the previous year finding. Okay, so there's no other
Really?
findings for this year's audit. So that's why it says none on the other, on section 3.
Maybe I'm reading, I got a different page.
What
My
page?
page is package, and it says 41, 4.18, and it's got criteria, and then it says condition, and condition says, at year's end, the auditor was required to make significant adjustments to correct the deferred overflows of resources, deferred inflows of resources, and net pension liabilities and net position. That's the condition. So, but in this one where it says condition, does it have anything to do with that, or
You said page 4
Right here,
is that
36.
Is that the audit for 2018?
yeah,
It's right,
March
36 at the bottom.
31st, 2018.
At the bottom, it has page 36.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah, 41, right here, packet,
But what's that number right there in the middle?
36.
Yeah, that's what we have here,
Yes,
36.
that's what I'm
Oh.
saying. Do you see where it says
36.
condition?
I thought it said 41.
He did, but it is looking at some. It's probably the number of the column.
Yeah, the packet, 41.
Since they didn't find any findings, that is blank, on the
But why
correction.
doesn't it say none? Or,
Where it says condition?
yeah,
The last two that say none.
the two say none and one says condition. That's what I'm not sure, I don't understand.
Okay. So what they're saying is that there's no more questions on the finding, on the previous finding, because they've already made an adjustment, a significant adjustment. That means they clear that finding. And then on the other one, it says federal findings in question. And current year findings, there's none for 2018. That the finding that they're talking about on the federal award findings question, it was from 2017, on March 31st, 2017, and that's the one that they've cleared. And then for this year, for 2018, there's no findings.
And it's a prior year finding and question cost none is referring to the 17, that's why they don't have any conditions on the lines above.
So right now, there's nothing questionable.
Excuse me?
There's nothing questionable?
No, it's not.
Nothing. Okay.
Normally, HUD will send you a letter asking, if there is any findings or any questions by HUD, if there's something irregular, they'll send you a letter and they'll ask for an explanation. But, if they approved it, that means that they reviewed the audit.
Mayor,
Yes.
last year, the findings were about 3 pages long in red ink. So I have to tell the city manager and Mr. Padilla that they've done a marvelous job then from last year to this year. So you should be commended for that because it was terrible last year, especially losing $700,000 that we could have done. So good job, Dr. Felix and Mr. Padilla. And I conclude with that, Mayor. I'm ready to move forward.
Mr. Chair, just to follow
Go ahead.
up on Councilor Barona. I got a copy from Dr. Felix, and these are all those are all the findings and the irregularities that they found.
How many pages are there?
And there's 6 pages, but there's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, like 8 items on each page. And they've taken care, they've closed everything up except for one, and I was going to ask Francisco. It's still open, and they're requiring that the governing board shall complete HUD's Lead the Way training and board training provided by PHA staff an outside vendor or HUD technical assistance.
The only ones who have not done that is you, the mayor, and Councilman Melendez Lopez. Councilman Rojas has done it, and I have done it. And it took me 5 hours to finish that course. So, and I don't know if Luis and Jesus have to do it though too.
Yeah, they,
Oh,
I think
probably-
they
yeah,
did.
'cause
Did you do it last year?
I did it.
Okay, yeah, they did, because Alex made it a point that, as far as I know, everybody, the mayor and council, well, I don't know about the mayor, but the council and the two at-large members, we all completed it. Right now, there's just you three that need to do that.
And there's also another one that's still open. This one for the training, and there's one that says that the PHA plan for 2018, January,
That is good.
that was extended, and it's still open with, they need some
Yeah,
amendments.
yeah.
And it's this way the plan is so late, because the plan's due in January, right?
Yeah.
January 1st,
Yeah.
and we're in May right now. So,
They have an extension that I have it for approval.
okay, but, okay, that's got nothing to do with the legality, okay.
No, it doesn't, but on that deal, Mr. Padilla, that Councilman Bojorquez brings up, Mayor, here's the thing, once again, Dr. Felix, we need communication. Tell us what's going on as long as we're here. Sometimes I realize we only have 5 or 10 minutes that I like this format, that we got away from our city council meetings. But keep us informed through a memo or something on updates like that.
I will consider it.
Mayor, I'm
Yeah.
ready.
You ready?
Yeah, I'm
Okay. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Number 2, consideration possible action of Housing Resolution 2019-03-02.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you very much. Discussion.
Okay.
Francisco, you're gonna do,
Yes.
Do we have handouts with the president?
That's
Oh,
financial.
Exhibit 8?
Exhibit 8.
Okay, got it.
Page 2 on this report, it shows the revenues. And these revenues are produced by the budget by the company, the fee accounting, Lindsay. They go through previous years, and at the moment that they're preparing the budget, the actuals at that time, so they are all these calculations. They review how many units that we have, any increases in rate or decreases.
I have a question on the maintenance supplies. You allocated $100,000 for maintenance
Yes.
supplies,
Yes.
but then when I went to the 5-year plan, on each year, you also allocated money for maintenance supplies.
Mhm.
So addition to that $100,000 on the operating budget, you're adding more money to this materials and supplies?
But that's different from the operational budget and the capital budget of
Yeah,
5 years.
I know they're different, but isn't it better if we use the capital funds to like for other repairs to the housing authorities that are just material?
Councilor Bojorquez, the $100,000 is for regular maintenance, and for the 5 years we have to contract for the major repairs for the units. And those $100,000 there includes the maintenance materials for operational is $73,500. And there includes also the vehicle repairs, fuel, fleet, maintenance building, and janitorial supplies that are included in the 100,000.
And on the It says replacement of capital equipment. Is that for the office? Is that like computers and?
We are in need of a new server, and we are consistent from that line item, and as same for the air conditioning on the main offices.
Mr. Mayor, we're gonna be talking about, Mr. Padilla, we're gonna be talking about the gymnasium in a while. What did you put in here for the gymnasium and the education of the computers and the weightlifting and all of that stuff? Did you put anything in the budget for that?
That is included on the 5-year plan. It's at the end of the...
$20,000.
Where's that at, Mayor? I don't, what page?
No,
Yeah, the last page? No?
Well, it's not.
Is that what
I
we
didn't
have
see
right now?
anything on the 5-year plan.
no, there's no... right now, we are looking for 3 quotes for
No.
for this fiscal year, for this grant 18, that we have a balance of $10,000 for the gymnasium. And for the following years, we are start working on the 5-year plan, that we're going to be including some new equipment in there.
But what new equipment? For the computers, the
No,
weightlifting, the gymnasium?
for the exercising room.
Oh, okay.
Go ahead.
I was at the housing authority not too long ago, and I asked Francisco, because I remember that Councilman Rojas brought it up about the equipment there, and if we had any funding, and I said, we couldn't get funding from HUD for that. But I apologize. I guess HUD did give the housing authority some money, and the finance manager at the housing authority told me that there was $20,000 funded from HUD and one of their capital grants, but I think it was from capital grant 2017, which is not on the 5-year plan, right?
No, we don't have 17. That's what we lost the money.
Oh, you lost that money, the 20,000 too? So
Everything.
when she told me that there was, she told me that there was $20,000 that needed to be spent for the equipment.
But there's on the 2016.
Or is that maybe I got the wrong
Yeah, it's on the
wrong capital
yeah, it's on the 16.
from the 16th? So
Yes.
you do have the 20,000.
Yes, we have 10,000.
10,000?
Yes.
Mr. Mayor,
Go ahead.
thank you. Jesús and Luis, ¿no han visto algo allá en el proyecto que necesita arreglar o algo que para preguntar ahorita si hay dinero que pusieron para corregir los problemas que ustedes están viendo ahí todo el tiempo?
Pues sí se ocupa, ¿no? Sí se ocupa de algunas reparaciones, pero lo están haciendo. O sea, despacio, pero lo están haciendo. Y creo que están con 2 elementos menos, ¿verdad? Y entonces, con los que tienen, están haciendo su trabajo. Se requiere un poco más porque se necesita tener más limpio, más cortado el zacate y todo ese tipo de cosas, ¿no? Para que se vea más bonito los lugares. Ahorita están en la temporada de los coolers, los muchachos andan muy apurados en eso. Pues en realidad los detalles que se van deteriorando los van arreglando. Eso sí, se pide lo mejor, ¿verdad? Porque los coolers que tienen pues ya para esta temporada de calor no son muy buenos. Entonces yo lo decía mucho a Francisco que se podía poner aire y así evitarían de estar arreglando los coolers por temporadas y nomás en los aires se cambian los filtros y adelante, ¿no? Porque tiene que ir mejorando ahí, tiene que irse viendo mejor, no tiene que quedarse estancado. Estas áreas por ser áreas de que pues el gobierno ayuda para los que somos residentes de ahí, pero también vemos que pueden ahorrarse en ciertas cosas que se pueden ahorrar, que son eso, aires y otras cosas que tienen que cambiar ahí. Pero yo pienso que con el tiempo se puede ir haciendo.
Are you at full staff right now?
We have 2 less employees.
So,
Yeah.
Luis said, right?
But that happens because HUD requires us to have 1 maintenance employee for every 15 units, and we have 226 units.
So are you gonna fill those two?
Well, actually, I think the PHA is overstaffed right now because
Oh, really?
they got more people than they should. It's 50 units for every one worker, for every maintenance worker.
50 or 15?
50. 50 apartments for one maintenance worker.
So then,
That's their regulation, so.
so they're not gonna fill those two positions then?
Well, if they had them before, they're you know, HUD's known about this, so if they had them before and they're vacant now,
Yeah, because
they can fill them.
Oh, okay.
Martha had mentioned to me 3 times about having overstaff on the maintenance staffing, so we had the opportunity to reduce the staff, and yes, we did.
So does that mean that you can't you can't fill those 2 positions, right? Yeah. If HUD's already
We could,
brought it
but
to your
we are
attention.
following instructions from HUD.
Okay, so okay.
Dr. Feda, can you look into that so we can get those 2 people hired so that they have enough, because they're falling behind. Mr. Alatorre is telling them that we're falling behind on this deal. See what you can do to get that authorization so we can hire those 2 individuals.
Excuse me, they're not getting behind. They have more work to do, and they're working as a team, the 4 of them. We were talking about, in case they need more help, hire a temp for a certain time when they have more work to do.
Well, I'm just confused, Mayor, because when Mr. Bojorquez and Alex were there, they had 6 people. Now all of a sudden, we're down to 4 people.
4 people in maintenance? I don't think they have 4 people.
Yeah, he just said there's 4.
Yeah, therefore,
And one per 50, that's 200.
They've got 7 people.
there's one for 4 for maintenance, and then we have another employee for the landscaping and take care of the
Landscaping.
gymnasium.
Well, yeah, but still, we're short 2.
And actually, when they get behind like that, is just maybe like during the summertime when they have to put up all the coolers, and then when the winter starts, when they have to take down the coolers and put the heaters. Those are the only 2 months that they get behind. But most of the time, you know, they're on time on everything.
So are you saying, Mr. Bojorquez, that we should only have 4 instead of the 6?
Well, yeah, are they getting behind on the regular maintenance duties? No. So
We have 1 for 56 units.
Yeah, no, I understand that, but you guys don't live there. He lives there, and he's saying they need more help. He brings it out. How many people were there? That they're falling behind. So they're the residents. I'm not there, so I'm taking their work because they're there all the time.
Yeah, but have you talked to your supervisor in charge?
Yes,
And he feels you're okay?
yeah, he feels okay.
Okay, so if the supervisor feels it's okay, it's okay. I would think so.
But the
No.
residents.
Yeah.
No viven
¿Tú
ellos
hablas
ahí.
por todos o hablas por ti nomás?
Hablo por todos porque todos, como tenemos el comité, ¿no? Nos juntamos todos los martes en la mañana y las quejas son de que los coolers no sirven, que no enfrían, que tienen problemas con eso, porque ya las casas, el cooler como que ya no...
No, pero estás hablando de remodelarlo. Tú estás hablando de poner unidades de aire.
Sí,
No, no estoy hablando de eso. Estoy hablando, ¿están haciendo su trabajo los empleados, sí o no?
70%.
¿Qué es el 20% que no están haciendo?
Pues se necesita mucho más meterle ganas a los muchachos porque duran mucho tiempo se ocupa un departamento y duran casi un mes para entregarlo. Entonces son cosas que se pueden hacer mucho más rápido y hacer más cosas. Y porque a mí me traen las quejas de que hasta para regar están prohibiendo tirar el agua ahí a las matas. Entonces eso, y luego los que dicen mucha gente adulta mayor que no puede el zacate, no lo pueden cortar y los obligan a cortar el zacate. Entonces cosas así que los trabajadores, cuando estaba Héctor, se podía hacer, se hacía. Y ahora como que ya bajaron su ritmo a un 70%. Antes trabajaban perfectamente, tenían un día Yo recuerdo que era un día viernes donde se cortaba todo el zacate y se dejaba muy limpio. Ahora las unidades tienen mucho zacate. Tienen mucho zacate y los muchachos pues tardan mucho para terminar una unidad o tardan mucho para hacer una reparación y es lo que
No
me...
están tardando mucho porque no están trabajando con ánimo. O será porque
O que les faltan 2 empleados más o no sé. Sí, porque...
Yo, fíjate, yo, ahí en los apartamentos con nosotros, 56 unidades. Tengo un empleado y trabaja 5 horas al día. Y todo está bien. Explícame.
No, yo te voy a hacer un ejemplo que...
No, it has a lot to do with supervision.
Well,
They got to get to work.
And if you're accurate, if that statement is accurate, then we have a problem here then, over here.
Yeah, because he's saying that it takes too long to do.
Uh-huh.
Doesn't mean that just because you're lacking 2 people, the other can't do the work. Maybe they get que se alivianen.
Yo reporté hace un mes que se está tirando agua del boiler de la manguera de agua caliente. Un mes para que lo fueron a reparar. Yo sé que, como han dicho ellos, tienen unas emergencias que otros tienen más emergencias. Ok, un mes está bien, pero un mes para arreglar una manguera. Y todavía no quedó bien.
Pero eso no tiene que decir que necesitan 2 empleados.
No, con un solo empleado.
No.
Digo,
Eso no tiene que decir, no. Eso a mí me están diciendo a mí que les falta supervisor y les falta que se pongan a trabajar. Eso es todo. Pero no me estás diciendo a mí que necesitas 2 empleados más. Porque puedes tener 10 empleados y no hacen nada.
Así es.
Y puedes tener 5 y hacen todo.
There's the apartment complex next to Challenger. I forget the name of it.
Mountain Point.
They've got like
The new one?
they've
Yeah.
got like 100 apartment units, and they've got 2 maintenance workers.
That's what I'm saying. We have 56 units and we have one that works 5 hours a day only. And the job is done.
Unless there's a lot of turnover, do you have a lot of vacancies that they're working at the vacancies and leaving the
No sé.
We are having around an average of probably 5 or 6
turnaround?
every month.
Or vacancies.
Yes,
That could create some problem.
And the other thing on these units are they're from 1967, just workers.
Yes.
So they're very old units. And some tenants, they are really, they leave the apartments like a trash.
Oh yeah, that's common.
So, but these ones being old and with all that work that they have to do, that's why sometimes it taking more time than normal.
But I think the key thing is when you said right now that you used temps during the summer season for the coolers, when the peak times, and you use temps for the peak times in winter, is good. Maybe you need to have the employees concentrate, like, if they're gonna go into one apartment, you know, and you tell them, you know what, that apartment needs to come out in 2 days, or 3 days, painted, cleaned up, or whatever you need to do, that's what they need to do. Instead of them going from that one and then jumping to another thing, they need to concentrate in that one thing. Because if you're on top of things and your supervisor's on top of things can be done, Francisco. And if they can't, maybe the supervisor needs to get his hands dirty too.
He does, and he helps the other 4 when they need it.
Yeah, because the way I look at it, if HUD says you're doing, it's good with the amount of people you have. I don't know if you really need the 2 people, but if that's the case, if you need them, put them on. You get them.
For vacancies, Mr. Chairman, for vacancies, HUD will allow you 20 days, right? 20 days to go in
To
there
rotate, to get it out.
and fix it and put it back to rent.
And that's a lot of time.
Yeah, 20 days is well, some of them don't take that much time. Like if you're talking about a 1-bedroom apartment, they can do that in 1 week or a couple of days. But if you're talking about a 5-bedroom apartment, 2 stories and really
Yeah.
trashed, it
Yeah,
takes a
yeah,
long
I
time.
can understand. But I mean, do you always paint them all, or do you just clean them?
They clean them and paint them.
It all depends
Every time
what
that it's
the
a
damages
vacant-
and stuff.
Yes.
Yeah. Is there a lot of sheetrock work done and patches and stuff like that?
Yeah, sometimes some apartment they have to change doors or do patching and cleaning bathrooms, cleaning
A lot of
stoves,
plumbing
cleaning
and-
refrigerators.
A lot of plumbing and minor electrical done too?
Electrical sometimes, yeah, not many, but they do, yeah.
All your staff are qualified, or I mean, do they understand electrical problems and plumbing problems and stuff like that? They do the minor work?
To do the minor work, yes.
And
If
major
there's
is
something
you-
else,
is
Mayor, we
somebody-
contract the plumbing or
That's the same
electrician.
thing we do over there, yeah. If it's major, we hire somebody to do it.
Yes, yes, we do.
So basically, I don't see any problem.
Yeah, there's a line item for contractual work, so that
Mhm.
includes plumbing and,
But I mean, if, like Commissioner Varona said, if you think you need them, and, I mean, more power to you if you get them. But I mean, that sometimes I mean, you can hire two people that probably take them about a year to get adjusted to what they're doing anyway, or maybe even more, unless they're qualified, or unless they have experience and the 4 things you need to do for apartments: electrical, plumbing, painting, and cleaning.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, Mayor,
Yes,
here again, I just want to emphasize those 2 people, those 2 extra workers were allocated and approved by HUD in the past. So if they were allocated and approved by HUD in the past, they should be allocated and approved now. HUD, especially its recent director at the federal level, with all the spending of his offices and everything like that. Nobody said anything about that. Now they want to come down and tell us that we have to be, but I bet you nobody told him about all the spending to make himself look important. So if these people are saying that they need some help, we should do it to need some help. That's all, Mayor.
Commissioner Rojas, were you going to say something?
Yes, Mayor. It just seems to me from the conversation that not all the needs of the housing authority are being met. I think we're coming short, or the direction's not very clear through the budget, as well as clarification on that direction. So the operations and some managements, I have a question on that from just the points that were brought out. I don't know if today is an appropriate time. I don't know how the time element has a factor on this, but we do, I think, need to have a study session on the plans, in the plans and operations of the housing authorities. Because, I think that's, it might be, I'm not speaking for Commissioner Varona, but maybe that's the confusion. And we do have expertise in the commission, but I think that we need more information. And this is only just to assist you and for us to gather more information. And I know that those 5 hours that we took with that particular lesson was very beneficial to me as well as the rest of the commissioners. But I think that, like I said, I don't know if today, I'm willing to go for it if the rest of the commissioners are ready for it. But at the same time, I think that there's a need for us to share more information on this. And just to help you, Francisco.
Yes, thank you.
Are you going to say something?
Those are my comments, Mayor.
Thank you.
Thank you.
there's nothing wrong with the budget. I'm just, what I'm hearing is just they're having problems with the maintenance. And just to make it clear, when I was working at the Housing Authority, we only had 6 maintenance employees, including the supervisor. Now they have 8. So those are the 2 extra ones.
Yeah. Okay. So, Francisco, you recommend this?
I do, Mr. Mayor.
You do? Okay. Any other comments from the commission?
Mayor,
Yes, sir.
I'm ready to move on.
Okay. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it. Number 3, consideration possible action of housing resolution 2019-05-03.
So moved.
Mayor. Thank you very much.
Second?
Thank you. Discussion.
What is that?
This is the
Which one?
PHA plan.
The PHA, yeah. This one here?
This one.
So, what are we voting on?
Approving
Mr.
it?
Padilla?
This is approving the PHA plan. It's the report that asks for the housing and improvements or changes that have been done in this year. You can see on page 2 of 4 that they are asking following plan elements being revised by PHA, and there are some yes and no's. So the yes are the ones that I have at the bottom of that square there as an exhibit. Like the first one, the financial resources, is the budget that we just looked through it.
PHA plan, Mr. Chair,
Go ahead.
the PHA plan, what it does, it kind of puts up like a grant. It's like a grant where HUD releases money to the housing authority. They have to submit a budget, an operating budget, a copy of the operating budget, and they also have to. I didn't see a finance schedule on it, you know, of funding that they need, but I did see it on the 5-year plan that they have here, and it's the very first one, and this is capital fund program 5-year plan, 5-year action plan, and this is what they're asking for right now for this annual plan. They're asking for 76,250.
That's the original amount that they gave Nogales Housing, but at the end we received the total 132,000.
So the 5-year plan on year 1, 2018, got 130,000.
132,000, yes.
And the reason we got this low amount is because they're sanctioning the housing authority because of the.
Yes, so
The money
the
that they
low
took
amount is
back?
because the sanctioning, yes. And then they find out that they have extra funds, and that's when they give us another
Well, that was nice, huh?
60,000.
Okay, and I noticed that you put on there you're still a trouble housing authority.
Yes,
We haven't changed the status.
no, we're still in trouble
Mr. Mayor,
because of the, sorry, Mr.
Yes.
it's alluded to, Mr. Bojorquez, on the progress report on goal 1 there. Provide to the Nogales Housing Authority residents safe, decent, and sanitary housing conditions for low-income and very low-income families. Manage efficiently the resources available. Progress, even though there has been a REAC inspection low score this year. So we got another low score this year.
Yes, when I just got to the Nogales Housing, we have the revision from REAC on the units, and we have a very low score.
Okay.
So how can that?
The REAC score has nothing to do with the money that the HUD recaptured. So that's something else. This is like an audit that comes from HUD, and they go into.
As a part of the PHA plan?
Right.
Yes.
Well, that's what I'm talking about, the PHA plan. How come we still have a REAC low score? How come we continue to have low scores? I mean, we've been in the business for how many years now? 40, 50 years?
Since 67, so
40, 50 years. Why are we getting these low scores?
Dr. Barona, from what I get information from the employees at Nogales Housing, the person that came from REAC and did the inspection, it was a new guy, it was a new person doing the inspections, and previously they were not conducting the inspection correctly.
Can, on the progress report here, Mr. Mayor, Dr. Felix, can we, within the next 30 to 60 days, get an update progress report from Mr. Padilla, what's happening on all 6 goals? Thank you, Mayor.
Yes.
Mr. Mayor, I'm ready to move on.
Okay, thank you. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. 5, discussion action items. Number 1, turn over NHA Board of Commissioners to citizens of the city of Nogales, Arizona. Mr. Valona, I believe you were the
Yes.
one that were interested on this.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Should we make a motion first before discussion, or should we
No.
discuss first?
I would
I'll
just want to
discuss.
discuss it
Okay.
because they would have to bring us a plan, how these people are going to be appointed, who's going to appoint them, what criteria is it for that.
Okay.
The only thing that I just wanted to bring up is that if we go back take a couple of steps back, and if, Mr. Kissinger, if I say something that's institutionally incorrect, you can correct me, because you're the institutional authority here, or what's going on. But if we go back when the mayor and council became commissioners, along with the 2 resident commissioners, we had a problem with there was a problem with the executive director over there, and the mayor at that time was a strong form of mayor government. So there was a clash there, and there was walkouts and protests because they wanted to take it back because of some financial misgivings over there, somebody having a construction company over there. So that happened there. So we've been in doing that since then. But I've noticed in the last 2.5 years, Commissioner Rojas, if you want to jump in, you know, we just look at this before our meetings. And if we spend 10, 15 minutes on all of this, I think it's too much time that we spend. And then the last year when we got into all of this problem because we're not paying enough attention to it, and it's hard. We have an obligation just to take care of the city of Nogales. Takes us full-time job. I mean, now we have a city manager form of government. These things that happen in the past shouldn't happen if the city managers are conducting his oversight and his accountability. That shouldn't happen. So I'm just bringing it out that let's give the residents an opportunity. All they're going to be doing is basically approving things. They're not going to have the authority to hire or fire the director. He's under the scope of authority of the city manager. So I would just like to see some kind of a position paper put before us on how we could do this, Mayor. Because I'm not ready to do it right now, because I'd have to see the logistics and the details before I could agree to that. I want to know how this is going to be done. So all I'm asking for, Mayor, there is just if Mr. Padilla and Dr. Felix and the expertise of Commissioner Bojorquez, they could put something together for us to look at, and then we'll decide what we want to do.
Because the way I look at it, I understand what you say, and that's the reason they're here as part of the commission. But I don't know. I feel that the city council, you were elected not only for the city of Nogales but also for this housing authority. That I think we should, and not all of us, but I think some of the members of the city council should be part of the
I don't
commission.
have a problem with that, man.
Yeah, because I think, you know, I think we should have responsibility over it. You know, even if just a chair or a couple of us be part of it, I think we should be part of that.
Either that, Mayor, the other solution, though, too, that you can come back is that we agree that we will stay as commissioners, fine, but we also agree through a policy statement that we are going to meet the second Wednesday of every month at 3 o'clock to take care of all of these issues here with plenty of time to discuss it, like we're doing right now. I don't have a problem, but I don't want to do it before the meetings in 5 or 10 minutes just to get it out.
Yeah, I understand. Yeah, because I remember when I was mayor before that we had problems trying to get, and I remember Director Bojorquez at the time, he had a hard time trying to get his agenda pushed, 15, 20 minutes. And, even though he did prepare us with sufficient amount of time to let us know what we were gonna have at the time. But I understand, yeah, you know, having a special meeting just for this, like we're doing today, I think would be one of the best things.
I don't have a problem, as long
You know,
as we
'cause,
commit it, make
you know,
a
'cause
policy
we can knock
statement.
it out, we can knock it out in an hour if
With
the
good
director is
discussion.
prepared and plans everything properly for us with a sufficient amount of time. Yes, Commissioner?
Mr. Chairman, and HUD's recommending, you know, on their sustainability action plan, they're saying that they want governing board members who will have the knowledge needed to perform proper oversight of the housing authority. So
Yeah.
we just can't pick anybody.
And maybe I should go to that training.
Yeah, we have to.
It's on the
Yeah, you
computer.
can do it
Yeah.
on the computer, it's
Yeah.
good. Yeah.
See, I just want to make sure we allocate sufficient time, not the past practices.
You sure I can't go to Chicago or somewhere to meet with the HUD director over there, Secretary of HUD and stuff?
Son ratas esos.
He's sitting at this $40,000 table.
Yeah, I know, that's why.
I want to sit at that table too.
That's all. I just think, Mayor, that we
No,
just
but I
need to
understand, I
change our
understand.
practices.
Yeah, I understand. Let's do that.
Okay.
All right. Is there anybody else? No?
So just, Mayor, what are we gonna do? So
Why don't we do the second Wednesday of the month?
Okay.
Do you think so?
For sure now?
Yeah, for sure.
Can
Yeah.
you develop a policy statement for us
Yeah,
so
can
we
you
can
do that
approve
for
that?
us? Yeah. The
So that
second
all the
Wednesday.
council knows that the second Wednesday, we're gonna meet,
Yeah.
let's say at 3 o'clock.
3
and
o'clock.
We'll
Get it out.
discuss
Perfect.
everything
All right?
then.
Perfecto.
Okay, that's
Good.
good enough.
Thank you, Councilman. And do you need to vote on that? Should we vote on it since it's discussion and action, or
What's direction, Mayor?
Well,
is it
we
just
gave him
direction?
directive.
Just direction,
Yeah,
okay.
just, and
Just
he
a
can bring
policy.
us back the policy statement for approval at the next time.
Okay, all right, perfect. Okay, number 2, NHA gymnasium usage and fees available funds. I believe Commissioner Rojas, you were the one that wanted to discuss that last time.
Yeah, I just wanted to discuss what changes or what have you done to address that, Francisco?
The only change that we have done is we moved the schedule. So closing at 5 in the afternoon, we are closing at 7. There is no fees for anybody that can go and, mostly they go and practice. There are a couple of groups that, like, we have a lady that teaches Zumba. We have the home tutoring from the library there. I think April, the program from Byte ends at the times that they will continue with that program. We have a lady that have a group of Girl Scouts that go and meet there. Luis Andrade meet with the residents there also every Tuesday. Else? That's we have on the multipurpose room another lady that teaches yoga. So,
Francisco, are you doing anything about the equipment? We mentioned the budget amount.
yes,
Are you getting new equipment? Did you get new equipment? Could you bring us up to date on that?
we haven't got any new equipment, but we are in the process of getting 3 codes to buy some new equipment there. The ones that are repairable, we're going to repair them. The ones that are not usable anymore, we're going to get rid of them. And I want to mention this one thing. Terry, the finance manager, the housing, told me that that equipment was the city bought that equipment. I'm not sure about that. I don't have any paperwork, so I don't know if that's true.
Yes.
But that's what she told me.
The city bought it and they donated the equipment to the housing authority as long as we maintain it. And, you know, it's old equipment, you
It's
know,
another equipment.
that you try to maintain as much as you can, but,
And the thing about old equipment is safety.
Right.
yeah.
If you're dealing with old equipment and it's not safe, it's not good for us to have it there. So, and we just said it right now, it's old, it's probably not in good shape, so it's a liability for us.
And $10,000 that you have in budget and your capital plans, that's not too much money to
It's
buy
not.
equipment.
Yeah, we know.
Not for
Maybe
recreation.
you can tap into those 130,000 that HUD allotted instead of the 76. Maybe you
Yeah,
can.
but that's all gone.
It's all gone.
Yeah. No, but I'm planning to put it, more equipment on the 5-year plan, deciding for next year. So we start buying a couple of equipment there every year, so we can have new equipment available for the residents.
Now, Francisco, I haven't heard any complaints lately, so that means that things are running smooth. That's an indicator for us. However, I know that in previous years that they've used the gymnasium for fundraisers. I know that one of the current basketball teams is planning on going to San Diego. However, in order to fund that, they need to do a tournament. And can you accommodate that particular team for a fundraiser on a weekend? I know it's been done before. I mean, I know that's an exception. It's not part of your normal weekly schedule. Is that correct?
That's correct.
So that would be an exception. Can that exception continue?
As far as the people that uses it for the benefit tournament,
For a fundraiser?
for the fundraiser, and they're responsible for whatever damage happens there.
Absolutely, sure.
Yeah, we can
I'm
allow
assuming.
those exceptions.
Okay, thank you, Francis.
Does the city recreation department, do they lend out the gymnasium? See, the parking space up at the Anza gymnasium is kind of limited. You can't get too many cars up there. If you're having a tournament, there's no parking. So do they ever ask for the recreation for the gymnasium at the recreation
For fundraisers?
for fundraisers and
I
stuff like that?
don't know. I don't know.
So,
But,
because we're talking about city property, right? So the gymnasium at the housing authority is considered city property, but so is a gymnasium at the recreation.
Who schedules games at your gymnasium? You or recreation?
We don't have games. There's only people,
Practice.
basketball teams that go and practice.
Okay, who schedules it?
I do,
You do?
yes. I ask
Who does the
the
schedule?
person which days they will go, which times, and I accommodate there.
Yeah.
So then the basketball league, the adult basketball league that Commissioner Varona mentioned, that used to practice from 7 to around 9 o'clock, are now practicing at Pearson. Is that correct? Would that be correct, Francisco?
That's what I heard.
Right, because there was a youth basketball league, and then the adults would come in, because they're adults, they would stay there till 9. But there wasn't any problem. However, now they're over at Pearson.
That's right.
Okay, so now you close the gym at 7.
That's it.
Okay. So then the accommodation could be done for tournaments, for the youth, for fundraisers.
For fundraisers, yes.
Mhm.
Because
If
it
that
will
be, yeah.
this one weekend.
Yeah, just a weekend, just out of the ordinary. It's been done before, so then we continue. I mean, we don't encourage that, right?
Yeah.
You don't
I
you don't want to be there every
I
weekend
don't want
or have somebody there. Yeah, but they would have full responsibility on doing that. But yeah, maybe we could,
I'm not pretty sure.
Councilman Bojorquez, we could ask, it would be nice in these conversations to have the director here, Marcel Bachelier, and we could even ask Pearson to see if they could accommodate
pretty sure
for
that
that particular weekend,
Director,
gym.
or any gym.
I'm pretty sure
Yeah.
Director Bachelier will he'll probably lean more on the liability part, because if somebody gets hurt there,
Right.
then the city will be responsible for it. So when you make like an agreement with somebody to use the gymnasium or any recreational part of the city, property of the city, you need to ask them for some kind of waiver or some kind of.
Well, we can have that
liability
prepared as
insurance.
well. I mean, we should be prepared for that. If we're gonna do that, I don't know about a waiver, but a disclaimer. Well, I mean, we should have our policy so that Francisco, it's not really you taking on all that responsibility, Francisco. He's following policy that we have for our protection.
Right.
But I think that we all know that there's a need for recreation in our community. So we want to encourage it, but in a good manner, in a wise manner, business wise as well.
And I noticed in your budget you don't have any commercial liability on there, right? You took it off. You just have property insurance.
The commercial,
Are
that goes through
Are we
the city.
piggybacking on city's liability insurance?
Yeah, we are included as part of this.
Because I know.
Yeah,
You do
Frank,
that for the liquor license, why wouldn't you want to do it for the kids?
Perfecto. All right.
Pero otro tema,
No,
una
that's
pregunta.
a good idea.
¿Qué
That
pasó?
the housing authority doesn't have to
Traigo
pay
una
for
duda
that.
de hace tiempo, ¿no? De que el 80 al 90% de la gente que debe horas ahí las paga en otro lugar. Tenemos escasas 2 personas, porque la gente le paga y paga a otro lugar que probablemente hasta les favorecen, les ponen horas de más o lo que sea. Si yo vivo allí, yo tengo que beneficiar a mi comunidad. No tengo que ir a otro lugar a beneficiar la bombera, la perrera o cualquier otro lugar que no es de mi área, de mi comunidad, donde yo vivo. Entonces, mi pregunta es, ¿por qué esa gente lo paga ahí? ¿Por qué no ayuda, ya sea que limpiando los departamentos que se están desocupando, ya sea que corten el zacate, cosas que se pueden ayudar, pero la comunidad de allí, no a otro lugar que no se beneficia el housing? Digo, me preguntas, y lo he hecho varias veces con Francisco, pero no hemos sabido todavía cómo resolverlo, pero eso sería una gran ayuda para bajar un poco la carga de trabajo también y que los muchachos se pusieran a hacer lo suyo, ¿no? La limpieza lo pueden hacer, limpiar un departamento.
Pues eso está fácil. La póliza, ¿qué? What's your policy on that?
It had policy that they can do the community hours everywhere they want. They're not
policy
gonna-
that-
Do we have that in place?
Yes.
Yes.
Because the Commissioner Rojas said, if you have problems opening on a weekend, why doesn't one of the residents open the gymnasium on a weekend and oversee that event for 2 or 3 hours to put in their community time? No?
I think we already.
Can't you make schedules for
offered,
them?
Some of the tenants to do that they don't want to do it.
They don't want to.
Well,
Oh, no, but they want to live there.
It's a-
No,
it's a-
listen, no, you have to, it's
Yeah.
not that they don't want to, they have to. If they go to the fire department, what makes you think they're gonna do the work? If they go to the animal control, what makes you think they're gonna do the work? But if they're doing it there, you're overseeing it.
There is a policy at the housing authority, if you're paying 0 rent, then you have to do community service at least 20 hours. or
8
something.
hours a month.
8 hours a month. I'm sorry, 8 hours a month.
But Mayor, that goes back to your initial question, the supervision.
Yeah. They have to do it.
It's obviously as we have all these different conversations that it goes back to supervision, because if they're being supervised, then they're going to do the work.
I honestly think you should tell them that they need to do there. Even though HUD says you can go anywhere, but you need to tell them, you know what, we need your help here, where
Right.
you live. And at that point that they say, no, well, I want to go to the fire department. How do you know they came to the fire department?
No, we don't know.
You don't
Yeah,
know.
exactly.
How do you know they went to
There's
the
no
animal control or
supervision.
the dog pound? You don't know.
I never had that, but the idea would be they would have to take some kind of document where the supervisor of the fire department or somebody
Yeah.
has to sign it and confirm that that person was there doing the community service.
Yeah, pero puede ser su compadre.
Yeah.
Well, that's,
They create loops.
that's something
They
else.
don't have
How
the
to
sign.
get out of it.
Yeah.
They
and
create
everything,
loops.
I mean, they're going to create something to get out
Yeah.
of it. I mean, because actually there, they would probably have to do the work because you're gonna be looking at them. I mean, if I was rent-free, I would love to paint and clean and do everything. Because that would be 8 hours a month, you say? Por favor, Francisco.
And
I
they
could
don't
do it in one day.
And they don't do it.
Oh, well, we better think about that one.
Yeah,
Hay que pensar de
Yeah,
esa.
they come up with all the excuses and then, you know, they wait till you take.
that's
them to court.
another
Yeah,
policy. Yeah.
yeah, maybe is there any way you can do an internal policy on that, or no se puede?
It's
I
a
need to
HUD
check with
policy.
that. Yeah. We need to follow them, their directions, and I don't know if we can make some, following their directions, but apply some of our own there.
Okay, if somebody says, I wanna do it at the fire department, just an example. They wanna do it at the fire department. And then you say, when? And then they say, I'll do it Saturday morning between 8 and 10. Can you go to the fire department between 8 and 10 and see if they're there? Huh?
You know, they,
Yes, you can.
they have 30 days to do 8 hours, you know, so, I don't know, you know, it's, they just don't wanna do it.
That's not right.
Yeah, no.
It is not right. That's taking advantage of you. Taking advantage of the opportunity
Yeah.
they have.
The
Bueno,
taking
let's take it.
opportunity of the system.
Thank you, Mayor.
Yes, yes. Any future agenda items?
Mayor,
Yes, Commissioner.
Dr. Felix, and Mr. Bell, I would like to discuss this last topic as an agenda item.
Okay. Perfect.
And,
The community house.
Yes.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, anybody else?
and also if, we can have Mr. Bachiller here for the next
Oh, yeah.
council meeting.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, for the scheduling
Mr.
and,
Bachiller.
and all that? Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, to find
just
out
to get an
the
idea how
insurance
he
and-
runs the
Insurance
gymnasium.
issues and fundraising, okay, perfect.
And, and those 2 employees, I want to make sure you get them back.
I'm probably gonna apply for that job.
Me too.
Está fácil ahí en el housing, ¿no? Con los ojos cerrados la voy yo.
We need
Ay,
a side job, ¿verdad?
I know.
ay, ay. Okay. Entonces, we ready?
Yes.
We are? This means adjourned?
Perfect.
Good, that's